So in today's video, what we'll show you is the installation of this Jimny Wild reverse light or reverse work light. So this is what comes in the kit. You've got the rear mount, the mount for the actual work light. You've got the work light as well. You've got the fixing hardware for the mount and for the work light itself, some Allen keys, some connectors for the wiring, the bolt that allows you to feed the wiring through into the vehicle, and then the wiring itself. The first step is to remove the tire. Then we'll remove the spare wheel carrier using a number 14 socket. So the next step is now to mount the actual light mount along with the spare wheel mount. I'm just doing a check to make sure that the tire will fit and there's enough clearance. We might need to check the cover as well when that goes on, but otherwise we've got a 215, so it seems it's okay.
We decided to clean up the pre-drilled bolts supplied to ensure no wires could get damaged on the sharp metal edges. This was quick and easy with a countersunk drill bit.
So what we did is we added the stainless steel bolt with the hole through it over here. So this allows you to route your wiring into the vehicle inside here. And we just added another washer. This is something we added onto that just so that it can grip a little bit better for us. So I'll tighten all these bolts to 59 Newton meters. And then we're just going to present the tire back again just to make sure that we can mount the light mount up at the top at the correct distance, so we actually know what the clearances are, etc. So what's important to know is that this is a 14 socket bolt, but the new bolt that you're adding is actually a 16 socket bolt. So once the wheel is on, then it allows us to just check the distances and make sure everything's fine. We'll add this on to just check and see where it sits. So you'll notice some grips underneath this. This is actually, when you tighten this, you tighten it on top of your tire to keep everything steady. Now, it's loose because I haven't tightened it quite, but this is just going to add grip to the mount for the light. Because we've got a cover, we're going to add additional rubbers at the bottom, just so that it can rest on top of the cover and not damage the cover with these teeth. So what we're going to do next is remove this panel, which will allow us to route the wiring through, and then through here, and then on the inside. You'll notice that we've removed our seats already. That's because we do not have our back seats in. We've got a racking system, which you guys would have seen in a separate video. What we'll need to do as well is remove this panel to allow us to get to the grommet inside here, and then route down to the rear bumper. So it's rather easy to remove this. You'll use your trim tools, and we've got some plastic trim tools, and you just stick it in the side and So over there you can see the bolt coming through with the hole. So what you want to do is carefully peel this away. Just so that you can get in there. So what we're going to do next is just loosely mount this light mount to determine the length of wire. Now, I thought we could use the wire from the actual work light itself, and it would be long enough to route through here. So then you get a insulated wiring coming through, and it looks a lot neater. But unfortunately, it's not long enough, because if you remove your tire at any time that you need to replace it for a flat, then you need to lift this up as well to be able to get the tire out. So that means that it'll stretch the wire. So I don't want to put tension on that wiring at all. So I'm going to do a different type of a connection. I'm going to add a Deutsch plug connection. And the Deutsch plug connection will allow me to disconnect the work lamp at any time if I need to replace it or if I want to install a different one. So this is a 13 socket, and you can use the Allen key that you get with the kit. We're going to fasten this light on top of the mount as well. So we've chosen the front slot basically, and what I'm adding in is a stainless washer. So I'm adding in a stainless nylock as well. This nut is a 13 socket as well. So what we'll do next is remove this panel. To do that, we'll have to remove the sill plate down in the front there. So here we've got the sill plate, and what we're going to do is just unclip the sill plate. So because we've already removed our rear seats for our rack system, our little bolt in front here has been removed as well. With this panel removed, we get great access to the grommet where we want to route the wire through to the bumper itself and to the light. And it gives us access in here to the actual routing from the door itself, from the back door. What we're going to do next is connect the Deutsch connector. This is the Deutsch connector. It's a waterproof connector, and I've already crimped these ends. And then you simply push these in, and then you've got a little green plug that goes in and keeps everything together. What to do next is just to check a continuity check of the Deutsch connector. Just want to always make sure everything's working. Clipping that in, and then I've got a little 12-volt battery just to check and make sure. So what we've done is we've added some heat shrink. You can add a sheath onto this if you want to as well, a plastic sheath. This is just to neaten everything as well and to keep chafing happening against the vehicle or paint, etc. So the idea is that this will be fixed down on the side, and then this part will route through over here into the hole. Now, because we could get chafing up at the top here, we've got some polyester tape that we'll put around this just to protect it. We'll be feeding the wires through the pre-drilled bolt. So what I'm doing next is I'm just using some sheath. It's like a expandable sheath basically, just to put the wires through, which will allow us just to eliminate some rattles here and there. Now the next step would be to route the wiring through this section here. To do that, we need to undo this plug like that and undo it on this side. What we've had to do is put through a wire on this side, since it is a grommet area with a slot in the side that has access to the wiring. So you'll need to put a stiffish wire through this side and then hook your wiring and then pull that through. So I'm just sealing this off to see that I can pull it through on that side. And there we have our wiring. With the wire routed through, you can now push these grommets or the connector back again into position. And the same with the top area. Okay, and what I've done as well is I've just routed the wire through to this side. We'll sort out the routing from here. You can also then proceed to just close up the sealant and the cover again. We'll be removing the bumper next, and to do that there's a number 10 socket bolt underneath here. Other side, some at the top here, and then the row of bolts up at the top here as well, and then a few clips in the center and on the side. Okay, so as you can see, what I've done as well is I've just added a sheath over here just to neaten it up, and then I've just put some material tape, or you can use insulation tape at the end. I've also just put some material tape over here just so that it doesn't chafe against this area. And what I'm going to actually do is just tape this down to try and avoid these holes, because some of these could be used by some of the clips. So what I'll do is just tape that down for now. And then next what we'll do is we'll route through the grommet. So you can remove the grommet. It'll just allow you to route this a little bit easier. And then pull that through. Push everything back again. Just tie this down with a small tie strap as well. I'm just using some of the material tape for now. And I suppose it's best if you do things as best as you can initially, and add in what you have to ensure that you avoid any rattles. Now mine might be overkill, but I think it will do a pretty decent job. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm adding a little pigtail, another Deutsch connector, and connecting that in so that it allows me to remove the bumper. Now I do have all these other wires in for the tow bar, so it makes it difficult to remove the bumper anyway, but I just thought for future proofing, I'm just going to add this in. And while I did that, I just removed some of the insulation tape here. So I'm going to clip this connector. Okay, so what I did is we put the car into reverse, and then I measured the voltage, and it was the only voltage that I could pick up, assuming that the black would be your negative, and then the red wire, which is the one at the top, he has the clip part of the actual clip. It's the red wire at the top corner here. So I used these red clips, wire clips, to connect that in. And as I mentioned, I put in the pigtails so that I can connect in with the Deutsch connector. There. Okay, so let's see if we get a reverse light. It's not clicking in. Fuck. And the other light as well. Oh. Yep. So once we've done all that, and we've done all the connections, we've put the bumper back again, then we'll just put the panel back again as well. Make sure you've got all your clips in, and make sure you're aligning them correctly. So to ensure that we don't damage our spare wheel cover, what we decided is to shorten this bolt a little bit, and then we've got one of these black caps. We'll just push onto that, just in case. It also neatens the appearance. So now that we've completed the routing and the wiring, we are going to put the spare wheel back on again. So once you've reinstalled your tire, what you'd normally do if you don't have a cover is you would adjust these bolts on the side so that these teeth then sit on top of the rubber. That'll keep it from moving. What we are going to do is we're going to install our cover, and we're going to add some rubber underneath and then lower that onto the cover so it doesn't damage the cover. So this is the profile that we're going to put onto the teeth, just so it sits on top of our wheel cover without damaging it. But that sits nice and tight, so.
Okay.